Bleav in Our State podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Carter.
And I'm your host, Cody Van Steelum.
Cody, we are going to continue the theme of being football heavy and really probably just for the rest of the summer, mostly being football heavy. We are going to be talking and looking at the rosters today. Today, we're going to do the offensive side of the ball. So while that happens, I'm going to set, uh, bring up my screen, and then we are going to look at the rosters.
Yeah. And while you do that, over the weekend, in case if you caught up, obviously the news has been huge. Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy got his contract extension with the San Francisco 49ers. It's a 5-year deal worth $265 million, and he's gonna get about 180 million of that guaranteed. And they also added a no trade. The 49ers also added a no trade clause to Brock Purdy's contract.
Dude, and he deserves like all of that, man. Like honestly, I'm really happy for it. Even though like as you know, as everybody knows that has dealt with me on Twitter, that I am not the biggest 49ers fan at all. I can't stand them, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. But I'm really happy for Brock because he deserves this. And like if you really look at this you know at like he this is like a dream. This is like the all-time like story. Like if Brock leads them to a Super Bowl win, this is probably going to be one of the greatest stories of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it'll be huge, not just for Brock, but for Iowa State as a whole. Because now, what you're
Yeah.
gonna be able to do is you're gonna say that yes, you produce not just players who go to the NFL, but you have them succeed in the way Brock, like obviously 2 NFC championships and a Super Bowl appearance at that, and they were on the verge of winning, and Brock was on the verge of winning the Super Bowl as well. So you know for sure that's gonna attract recruits, and I think that could potentially allow Iowa State's NIL to go up even further, like as more of these these cyclones in the NFL succeed. You're gonna see like the NIL become bigger. You're gonna probably see more like money being put into the program.
Yeah, man, and you really look at like also just Tyrese Halliburton to go off of, and off of him, he's a max player, and he's going to be playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's literally it's a great time to be a Cyclone right now, and like we said, congrats to Brock. And most of that being guaranteed. Yeah, you already know that he's probably going to be willing to help out because you already know that Brent Bloom has his number on speed dial.
Yeah, probably Halliburton too. Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
and I think it all started with those two dudes in a random accounting class. Is That's the lore drop.
Oh, it was actually a stats class.
Oh, it was stats, but yeah, yeah, that's the lore drop. Two of the
Yeah,
most notable Iowa State alum were sitting in a stats class.
yeah, man, it is absolutely insane. And then it's just like you have Tyrese and George Niang, who like George Niang is from my time
Mm-hmm.
when I was there. So he
Right.
was like with Hoy Ball, beginning of Hoy Ball, and then you have Tyrese, who when Steve Prohm was here, was able to secure him. So and then you see that they're they have a tight thing, and now they're friend. He used to look up to Tyrese used to look up to George as a mentor, and
Mm-hmm.
now they're just the best of friends. I
Mm-hmm.
remember it was like a few years ago for one of I think it was Tyrese's birthday. George was there. I'm like, this is amazing, dude. Like,
Yeah,
I think more than any other school, like Iowa State guys, like will like stick together.
for sure, for sure.
But all right, let's get into this thing. We're and into this roster. We're gonna look offensively at the roster, give our thoughts, and then maybe see if anybody can break out at these positions. So of course we're gonna start at quarterback, and um, as you know, we are on our lads. This is sort of our partner for uh, um, the guy Hayden Russell, the guy that I had on. This is the website that he works for, and also check out their draft guide. But thank you for our lads for sending us this roster and making this roster. So at quarterback, we have Rocco Becht, of course, and then we have Connor Moberly. Um, so Rocco as QB1 looks to build on this year, build on his Cyclone career, and his redshirt junior season.
Hmm. Yeah, obviously Rocco Becht. I mean, he's basically like he's the shoe in starter for sure. I mean, right now there's no doubt that he is QB1 in like in camp. I'm pretty sure that I think this is like it's nice for Iowa State to have a assured quarterback one because obviously we remember the pre-Brock Purdy times when quarterbacks get rotated midway through the season and you never knew
Hmm.
who was a consistent starter. So it's nice now seeing that we do have a consistent starter at QB1 and Rocco Beck. I mean, he's going to continue to grow from what I've seen because it's not really a breakout year really, and still a lot of things to work on. But I think this is going to be really nice, and I do expect Rocco Beck to take another step into being a better quarterback. And I think with a few reads, he might be one of the top quarterbacks in the conference, if not the top quarterback in the conference.
Definitely, and look for him to be up top. A lot of you know, a lot of pre post spring um, uh, like tweets and a lot of guys on Twitter and ESPN have him as one of the top quarterbacks returning this year in college football as well as in the Big 12. All right, let's look at this running back room. Um, and this is very, very interesting to me. But with his performance, according to this depth chart, at running back, we have Carson Hansen at RB1, Abu Sama at RB2, and then Dylan Lee at RB3. What are your thoughts on this?
I think given the sample size that we had the whole last year, I think it was clear by the end of last season that Carson Hansen was RB1. I just think that Carson Hansen was able to produce better than Abu Sama like consistently. Because I mean, you did have a couple breakouts for Abu Sama, but it just wasn't consistent enough to where the running back, like the offense wanted. So Carson Hansen clearly got a lot more of the running load, and he
Yeah,
showed out pretty well. So I think Carson Hansen being RB1 makes sense to me. And I
yeah.
mean, those two will still complement each other very well. But I think I do like Hansen as RB1, and then obviously Abu RB2.
Do you think Dylan Lee has a chance to push maybe Abu and maybe push for that RB2 spot?
I think he could. I think Dylan Lee, depending on how they plan to use the running backs, I think you might get some running for Dylan Lee, and obviously in the event that say either Hanson or Abu Sama gets injured for a time period, you'll probably see that. So it's kind of nice having three very good running backs in the running back room, so that way you can plug and play in case something was to happen or scheme fit.
Definitely. And then yeah, I mean, we got to talk about this X position. This is a guy who we totally forgot about because he was injured all last year, and I think who could be a very, very good weapon for Rocco Beck. We got to talk about Daniel Jackson at the X position and Carson Brown. Carson Brown filled in greatly for Daniel Jackson, but I think as we saw in 2023, Daniel Jackson gives this offense a totally different feel, a different explosiveness with him at the X position.
For sure. Yeah, and I think it's very nice. I think all I'm hoping for is hopefully Daniel Jackson can stay healthy because I think that's been one of the things that has hampered his potential is just the injury bug. So I'm hopeful that Daniel Jackson will be healthy for the whole year because I think if he was healthy, imagine the wide receiver core of Noel
Oh
Higgins
my!
and Daniel Jackson. That would have been
Oh
such a dangerous wide
my!
receiver trio. But I think
Oh,
Daniel Jackson is can provide a lot of senior leadership because he's been through the ringer. So I think he's going to provide that greatly for the guys who are here and also the new guys that we're bringing in and Chase Sowell and Xavier Townsend who are very talented.
yeah. Let's get into them. We're gonna look at just the Z position in general. We have Chase Soul, who's gonna be the incoming transfer from Eastern Carolina. Also, congrats to his brother Hunter Soul, who is now a Cyclone. This whole family has just ingrained themselves in cycling culture, and I love it. Um, then we have Brett Eskildson, and then we have Dom Overby. So I think Chase Soul is going to be the main Z guy, so the main guy on the right side of the formation. Do you think that either Overby or Eskilsson could take time away, maybe in certain formations? Because I did like what I saw from Brett Eskilsson, and I Bleav in the Cincinnati game.
Hmm. Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, I'm thinking obviously Chase Olstef going to be the main guy. So you're going to see him for majority of snaps, and I think that'll just be the case. But I think you could see Brett Eskilton in certain scenarios, like probably like run blocking, or like if they're running, maybe like a tight set. I could see that.
I could also see him because we saw last year in certain third down situations, Rocco did look to him in the game. I Bleav he had two catches in that game.
Hmm.
So I mean, I think he could have more if he proves himself to thrive more in those situations. I think he'll see more field time. I think Dom Overby. I think we'll see how he develops in fall camp, but I think we could see him a lot too, and maybe him and Ellison will probably be like returners because
Yeah.
one thing about both of these guys is that both of these guys are really fast. They run, I believe like it was either sub 12 or sub 11 100-meter dashes. So I mean, these guys got speed, bro,
Hmm.
and just to be unrealistic for a second, these guys are freaking cheat codes in NCAA. Like I use them in that in my veer offense that run that Tennessee runs.
Hmm.
Man, there's just one play. Either one of them will get open every single time. Like it is
Yep.
crazy. But anyways, like at least for those positions, I think Eskilson versus Overby is going to be an interesting battle for the second position at Z. And then
Yep.
we have the slot position. We have Xavier Townsend coming in from UCF. But fun fact that he also grew up and played Pop Warner football with Rocco. Um, and then we also have Eli Green, who we saw. And then to finish out that position is Kai Black.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if we see Eli Green a lot more. Obviously, Xavier Thompson is going to be the number one guy, but like we'll see what Eli Green can do because I was interested in some of those looks that he gave us last year.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, both guys being in the slot. I mean, they're probably going to be like one of those like safety blankets for Rocco alongside the tight end who we'll get into a little bit. So, and obviously you can have you have the history with Xavier Townsend and Rocco Beck, so you know that could play a decent factor. Like, because those two having good chemistry could be really nice to for the offense, just for Rocco to know he has assured hands when it comes to either uh, Chase Sowell or Daniel Jackson not being open down the field. You can go like check down with Xavier Townsend, and I think Xavier Townsend is going to be able to be one of those guys who will be able to get the football and then be able to maybe make some space to gain more yards after the catch.
Definitely. And he's also a great returner, so maybe that's somebody that we could also see back there either on punts and kicks. Um, And then we're going to look at the offensive line. Once again, this is not. This is just a projected. We're going to get one before the season comes out, probably like a few weeks before the game comes out, or probably like in July, really. But this is what we look at for offensive line. We have James Neal at left tackle. We have Trevor Burr at left guard. Dylan Barrett at center. Brendan Black at right guard. He switched. He moved over. He was playing center, and then we have Tyler Miller at right tackle.
Yeah. Um. Obviously, Dylan Barrett was a great great pickup from Wisconsin. I knew like when he was coming over to Iowa State from Wisconsin, I was like, it's really nice that we can beef up the offensive line a bit. Obviously, alongside Jalen Travis, And then Brendan Black and Tyler Miller are stalwarts, and James Neal as well. I believe James Neal has moved around the offensive line quite a bit, huh? Right.
Yes, he has. He's played so many different positions.
So yeah, you have a guy who's skillful at like a lot of these positions, who has the knowledge of the positions, and then Trevor Burr, who I saw like he grew like in that West Virginia game when Bear was out. He did really nice in that West Virginia game. So I kind of like this. I like the development there. And then I also believe we're bringing in Austin Bear. Is that this year or next year?
No, he's this year. So I was actually gonna say that. Like, look out for Austin Beer. He's not on the depth chart yet. So on this depth chart yet. So look for it in the updated play depth chart. So yeah, I really like where this offensive line is. Like, I think finally we finally have seen what this offensive line can be. They've gotten and improved. Gotten better and improved every single year
Yeah,
under Clanton. So now we're finally seeing it.
for sure. It's always nice to have like a really good offensive line because obviously you got to protect. Like the number one goal is to protect Rocco Beck, and I think if they're going to provide Rocco with great pass protection and and creating running lanes is going to be huge as well. I think that's going to be one thing to look out for this offensive line is if they're able to create those running lanes and block like kind of like because obviously they know what Jalen Travis brought to the table. So I'm wondering if that kind of like has driven the guys on the offensive line to get even better and to be
Definitely.
more of a blocker like that. So really excited to see how this offensive line does. Facing, I'd say like relatively like I have to see the pass rushing from like the rest of the Big 12, but I'm really curious to see how they'll hold up.
I agree because I believe Kansas State has a pretty good pass rush, so that's going to be an early test.
Hmm.
Obviously Iowa, and then I'm not really sure who else really has a pretty good pass rush in the Big 12, but like, I think this first game in Ireland is definitely going to be a test.
Hmm.
Um, and then let's look at the tight ends. At least for the first position, they have Gabe Burkle as there, and then they have Bramer. But I think it's probably going to be switched up. And I depending on if they really like what they saw from Gabe Burkle last year, and then they're trying to ease in Bramer from his injury. But
Hmm.
either way, like this Y group tight end, or this Y group at tight end is absolutely talented.
For sure. I think that may be the case. I think they're probably
Right.
not gonna rush Ben Bramer into like um live reps. So I think Gabe Burkle will probably start maybe for like the first couple of games, like maybe against Kansas State and then in the non-con, and then you might see limited Ben Bramer reps. But I think that'll his load will increase, and then eventually you can have those two like interchange, and then if we're gonna run a two tight end set, Tyler Moore is gonna be really nice. Second tight
Yes.
end.
I was gonna say look for either him or Trip Wash to maybe play that H back position too.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
I could totally see Trip Wash being a guy that could definitely run because he had some good snaps for us last year too,
yeah.
and play that H back position. But Tyler Moore, yeah, I'm really excited to see what he has. Unfortunately, his time at Iowa State, he's had a lot of injuries, but the time that he did play, I really like what he gave us.
Yep. I mean, do you think any of these tight ends could fill like that Steve Klotz role?
Yeah. I honestly, I honestly was thinking about that maybe for. I think that would be the ideal slot for Tyler Moore, honestly,
Hmm. Yeah, just to be like that
because
fullback, like blocking fullback, like say like goal line situation, just to really,
yes,
or even like if we're doing like a QB sneak, because I mean we saw a lot more QB sneaks in the past year with Rocco, and those are really like those have been really
yeah,
key. That's been a nice wrinkle to the offense.
I'm telling you, man, like be prepared for a lot of those tush pushes. Like if you see Tyler Moore in there, and then you see on those little like dump off routes in the flat, I
Yeah.
think that's going to be ideal for Tyler Moore. So don't be surprised if you see that in the first game in Week 0 in Ireland.
The I formation, it's so nice to see that we have like used the I formation more often.
I'm telling you, man, I love 13 personnel.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna ask you a few questions, Cody. Um, so we'll say in out of all of these positions, what would you which position would you say are you like the most confident in?
I'd say definitely most confident um at quarterback. Like there's no doubt. Like I think like there's no doubt with Rocco. I think that's the most confident. That's the most surefire um position. But if I was to go outside of that, I'd have to say running back. Just with what I saw to Carson Hansen last year, and even the flashes to Abu Sama, and I think Abu kind of suffered a little bit of a sophomore slump, but I'm pretty sure that'll he'll get over that, and I think he's gonna explode again for probably like to make a good 1-2 duo with Hansen. So I'm watching that running back room.
So this one is going to be maybe I guess sort of outfield for some people, but I think out of left field for some people. I think for me, I gotta say it's the tight end room. Like the tight end room is probably as solid as it's been since Purdy. Like
Hmm.
Gabe Burkle, we weren't sure how he was gonna. He like obviously it was next man up, but I did not expect that because he usually was a blocking tight end. But man, he showed his receiving talent, and now we have two really good tight ends. Really wanted to see what Tyler Moore has and the Trip Walsh. I think he's going to be able to take another step forward this year. So definitely for me, I would say the tight end room.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, I'm really interested in the rest of this team. And then I have a few other questions. The next question for me is, who do you think in the two deep has a chance to push out a starter and maybe become a starter at that position.
Hmm. Let's see. Possibly. I'm probably leaning Eli Green. I'm leaning Eli Green.
Yeah, I do too, man. I think we haven't seen a lot from him, but I think he can definitely push Xavier Townsend.
Hmm. For sure. Because I mean, both guys are similar builds, 5'11", about 200 pounds. So yeah, they're sim yeah they're similar builds, same height. So and also like they're both projected to be kick returners for special teams. So I mean, they're playing both of them are playing about the same positions. So I think it's gonna come down because both guys are gonna see the field. I think it's just a matter in which manner they will see it the field.
Right. For me, I think it's gonna be Carson Brown. Um, because unfortunately, like Daniel Jackson, like I would love to see him for a full year, but like fortunately we really haven't been able to see that his entire career at Iowa State. So I think we're just gonna see just because of that, and I hate to say it, I think we're just gonna see Carson Brown a lot more, mainly because of that.
Yeah,
And Carson Brown, I mean, he had a great year stepping in
yeah,
for at that X position for Daniel Jackson, and as you know, what we thought we thought he caught the game winning touchdown against Texas Tech.
yeah. I mean,
That, that was
that was
insane.
such a great play, like from Carson Brown. This is unfortunate, obviously. Like, I think that game that I think that really came down to like just not being able to stop like Texas Tech on that last drive. That was the problem that we kind of had. But I mean, but I mean, to Carson Brown's credit, like, yeah, he did everything he could. I mean, he was staying on his feet, like tiptoeing down the sidelines. So, I mean, that's a play that he's gonna hold dear, to like his career. Like, he's gonna hold on to that. And I think that was just a glimpse of what he could definitely do in that slot position or the X
Yeah,
position. Excuse me.
no, for real, man. I completely agree with you. And then what? And then like I guess my last question before we head out, I guess what is your expectation for this offense?
I think this offense, I want to be able to. I want us to be able to be put up like maybe like 25, 30 points a game, and then if we need to, we should be able to keep up with like a high powered offense. So really being able to get to that, and then just I want to see like a lot more of like a balance like offense, but I want to be able us to be aggressive. So I'd say like if you have an opportunity, like if Rocco sees an opportunity to be aggressive, take the opportunity and then just keep like goal line situations simple. Just out strength like the other team. That's what I want to see. I just want us to see our offensive line dominate. I want the like obviously offense to move smoothly and then just in certain situations like just be tougher than the other team.
Yeah, I'd like to see close to 35 points a game because I Bleav we average what like almost 31, 32 points a game.
Oh, that's
But
right. Yeah, yeah. We did have a few like outings where we did score 40. I forgot about that.
hmm
So
so
yeah.
yeah, like and then I would like to, for me, I'd like to see us become more balanced.
Hmm.
Um, because I think this team, like we saw it a little bit in 2023, and we saw a little bit a few times last year, where when this team is balanced, this is where this team can be their most dangerous. Is when this team
Uh-huh.
can run and pass the ball. And then another thing that I'd like to see, and like obviously, Mouse is gonna be very very aggressive on fourth down, so keep up with that.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I think another thing we're going to see, I think we're going to see a lot more throws to the tight end on third down. Like this
Yeah.
is where Benjamin Bramer is going to come in really really key. This is what I think. This is what we missed a lot last year, and until Gabe Burkle came on, and when he was able to develop into that. But yeah, those are a few things that like I'm looking for,
Yep.
and hopefully that we see. Um,
The play
and
action is something I really.
yes,
I think that was
yes,
what was missing. I think that was the wrinkle we were missing in the offense was utilization of play action. Because I think that I think if we can establish like a better run game, like a more consistent run game, then that's going to be able to open up the receivers and the tight ends a lot more. So defenses aren't just stacking the box constantly against us because there were
right,
times where they would just stack the box against us because they know like like because we were kind of limited in some points of the game. But being able to stretch out that defense is going to be able to open up lanes, open up space for Carson Hansen, Abu Sama, and then also be able to catch them off guard with maybe a tight end sitting in between the linebacker zones.
right. Yeah, no, I completely agree. So that is going to conclude the offensive side of the ball. Join us for Thursday's podcast as we talk about the defensive side. Um, so with that, that will conclude our show today. Thank you guys for tuning into the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. Um, we are a top 15 sports podcast in the state of Iowa, nominated by FeedSpot. So thank you, FeedSpot, for nominating us. Thank you, state of Iowa listeners, and everywhere across the world for listening to us, worldwide, baby. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then to find us on Twitter, you can find Cody on Twitter at Matt Campbell Impersonator. I don't know what he's talking about these days, but I'm sure he has crazy memes and he's talking about the Braves. So,
We're talking about NBA, and I mean, we just talked about graduation. Obviously, I like graduation just happened at Iowa State, so I was there supporting all my friends who have graduated. So if you graduate from Iowa State and you're listening to this right now, congrats! Really excited to see what you do. Outside of that, we've got some WWE memes here and there, and hey, the Braves are finally over 500. I'm happy for them.
hmm, wish I could say the same. We got swept out of Chicago by the freaking Cubs. So yeah, you can find me at Sci Guy. I'm actually very very excited. I am really really looking forward to Cowboys training camp. That's really the only excitement I have.
Yeah,
I mean, the White
maybe they
Sox.
can get back to the NFC Championship game.
Cody, I hope so. It's been almost my entire lifetime of them not being in the championship game.
That
Where
is
while
that.
you've seen the Niners be there like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, I mean
So we'll see.
that
Uh,
division though. That the NFC East. I mean, obviously you got to deal with the Commanders and the Eagles being there. God,
I know it's dude. It's going to be absolutely nuts how that division turns
yeah.
out.
If Jaden
Uh,
Daniels isn't terrorizing you guys, it might just be Jalen Hurts.
yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see because I mean, now Dak is back, and hopefully he stays healthy. So we'll just see what happens.
Mhm.
But thank you guys for joining the show. Thank you for joining the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. So for Tyler Carter,
And for Cody Van Sealam,
this is the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
let's go state.